Hello everyone, my name is Konstantin Rybinin, and this is a brief demonstration of using the SciVi platform to create custom hardware user interfaces for solving specific visualization tasks. This is a paleontological museum exhibit that demonstrates the hypothetical behavior of Dimetrodon grandis, an extinct Permian synapsid. This animal might have used its spine sail to bask in the sun, rotating its body towards the sunlight. The light direction is detected by 3 photoresistors connected to the ESP8266 microcontroller. The direction data are streamed over the Wi-Fi to the laptop that renders the animated Dimetrodon model and rotates it accordingly. Both the firmware and the frontend are generated by SciVi based on high-level declarative description of the visualization task. This is a biological museum exhibit demonstrating the so-called Elens Rule. The animals in the warm equatorial areas are slimmer than polar animals, which tend their body shape to the sphere. Here, the rendering of the morphed fox model takes place on the Raspberry Pi microcomputer that constantly polls the external ADC connected to the potentiometer that allows us to choose the latitude. The standalone visualization software wasn't written manually, but generated by the SciVi platform. That is yet another implementation of a wireless data glove to catch hand gestures by gyroscope and accelerometer. The distinctive feature here is that the firmware for the controller and the middleware to control the game are both generated by SciVi. This is another paleontological museum exhibit that demonstrates the ontogenesis of Titanophaneus potens, an extinct Permian synapsid. Here we have 3D printed reduced skull models of young and adult Titanophaneus. What might the teenage Titanophaneus look like? Something in between. The range sensor is connected to the ESP microcontroller that streams the range data to the laptop, and the laptop renders the interpolated model. And again, both the firmware and visualization are not programmed manually, but generated automatically. What is under the hood? Let's say we have an ESP8266 microcontroller and ultrasonic range sensor. Traditionally, we would have to write the appropriate firmware to poll the sensor and transmit the data, then the frontend to receive this data and render the picture. For sure we could, but there is an easier way to go. We declare what we want in the form of a data flow diagram, where each block corresponds either to the data source, data processing, or data visualization operator. This visual representation is then automatically transformed into the task ontology, which describes the entire workflow in terms of operations. The microcontroller is flashed with a special universal firmware, which contains a tiny reasoner for embedded task ontologies represented in an original concise format called EON that was invented right for these use cases. The corresponding part of ontology is sent to the microcontroller, instructing it what to do. The other part governs the behavior of visualization client. Here we go. Having a reasoner for embedded ontologies on board, our controller can be virtually reprogrammed without reflashing and even without a reboot, just by changing its task ontology on the fly. For example, let's remove the range sensor and attach a potentiometer. UI stopped working. But if we change our data flow accordingly, it's alive again. Let's see how it works internally. This is our data flow diagram. These operators are dedicated for the SciVi client, and this one is dedicated for edge device. So these links denote in-memory data transfer. and this one requires data marshalling. To tackle the interoperability problem, SciVi transforms the data flow diagram to the task ontology. Let's see just a fragment, as the task ontology is quite large. The data links are mapped to the corresponding relations in the ontology. The reasoner traverses this ontology and infers that the ADC instance is hosted on the instance of ESP8266 computing resource, while map and morph instances are hosted on the SciVi client instance. So the left side is sent to the edge device and the right side controls the client. Accordingly, this link denotes just a regular in-memory transfer, and this one requires marshalling. For this, SciVi automatically augments this link with the data serialization, marshalling, and deserialization operations, making the data flow seamless for the user. This is what we call ontology-driven edge computing that helps us to make custom hardware user interfaces. Thanks for watching!